Hey everyone, so in this video I'm just going to talk about Cast on Crit and how it's been for me in patch 2.4 in Path of Exile. So as you guys have seen, if you've seen my previous videos, I decided to go Cast on Crit in patch 2.4 in the Essence League, and I wanted to do a hardcore character in patch 2.4 with Cast on Crit. Now normally Cast on Crit, it's been a build that a lot of people have been like ditching in patch 2.4 because of the recent changes that Grinding Gear Games has done, nerfing the skill. I've tried to find useful ways for it in patch 2.4, and I wanted to give a build that was pretty viable, pretty good in the Hardcore League. And currently I'm level 87 and I have not ripped yet, so I'm still in the Hardcore Essence League with this build. I've got 5,200 life. My armor is sitting at almost 10k unbuffed, and my block chance is at 56% for spells and 56% for attacks, and this goes up to around about 70% with all my buffs come in to play for the Gladiator build. Damage is been really good, so I've been able to take mobs out very fast with this build and very effective with this build. I had to try and work a lot more with how Cast on Crit has changed, and I tend to try and adapt to the changes to make the build even better. So the way we've gone with Cast on Crit in patch 2.4 is we have utilized it in a lot of the actual trigger gems. So this is a block build, and basically we're going to be blocking 70% of the time, so we want to make sure we've got an actual counter attack in there with riposte, and we've got vengeance in here as well just for an extra kick, which is supported by Cast on Critical Strike and Blade 4. Now it's also got supported by level 5 Concentrated Effect, which is part of the gloves. These gloves also give Rampage when you're attacking multiple mobs, and when you're at full endurance charges, Rampage will kick in. If you don't know what Rampage is, it basically gives a lot of extra buffs to you. You can stun all the mobs around you, even if they are rare mobs. It will stun them, and it will do corpse explosions, big AoE burst damage, things like that. So I tested it out with these gloves and I implemented it into this build with trigger gems for Cast on Crit, so Riposte and Vengeance. It will cast Blade 4. It pretty much casts Blade 4 all the time. I found that Blade 4 will be casting every 0.5 seconds, because if you're aware now with Cast on Crit, they've buffed the damage with Cast on Crit, but they've nerfed how many times it will trigger. It will only trigger every, say if you're capped out, it will trigger only every 0.5 seconds, so every 2 casts of Blade 4 every second, which is still pretty effective in my opinion, because they've buffed the damage on Cast on Critical Strike. So they actually give you more spell damage now. So you've got more spell damage, and you always have a 100% chance to cast a spell. So it's always triggering now. So you don't need to have that perfect crit roll. With this build, we've got about 50% without the buffs up, 50% chance to crit. Now we have power charge on crit. So when we attack with our Cyclone, we'll get our charges up quite fast. When we're maxed at our power charges and everything like that, our crit chances is about 76%, which does the job fine. Anyways, so we'll just look at the links now. On our armor, we have a 6-link armor where we have Cast on Critical Strike. Now this is linked with Cyclone. So Cyclone I found to be the best Cast on Crit ability in patch 2.4. Still, it's the main ability that I use. We also have that linked with Fortify. Of course, it's a hardcore build, we're going to be using Fortify, and Fortify works well with our weapon, Beano's Kitchen Knife. Anyway, so Cyclone, Cast on Crit, Fortify, added fire damage for extra physical damage, blade fall, power charge and critical strike. So these are the 6 linked spells I've been using with this build, and they've been working great. They've been working fine. This is pretty much at end game. My blade fall is at level 19, so I haven't even maxed that out to level 20 yet, and I'm doing great. Heaps good damage. We also poison in this build, so let's have a look at the skill tree. We have poison here, so 10% chance to poison on hit, so our blade fall can have a chance to poison. We have more poison damage. We have the poison from critical strike multiplied with daggers. Critical strikes with daggers have a 30% chance to poison the enemy. Albino's kitchen knife revolves around the poison, so it's got pretty good physical damage on it. It's got high crit chance, 9.5% chance to crit. And then on killing a poisoned enemy, nearby enemies are poisoned and nearby allies regenerate 200 life per second. If we look at the Gladiator build over here, so you're looking at Pain Forge for the block, so you get an extra 8% chance to block when you're hit damaged by an enemy recently. Versatile Combatant, so 100% chance to block, chance of attacks is applied to your spells as well. And this is the other part that goes into this build. So physical damage. We have physical damage in this build from which goes from on our weapon, on our blade fall, and also this when we kill an enemy mob that is bleeding. Cyclone pretty much attacks a lot of times. So we have a good chance to cause bleed on our enemies, which will cause them to explode, as I'll show you when we're testing the build out. So you can look at my previous videos anyways if you want to have a look at this build. This is just a video just to let you know how I've gone with Cast on Crit in patch 2.4. If you guys are still thinking of coming up with a build, if you want to use Cast on Crit. If I look at my helm here, Molten Shell has actually been a really good spell to use with Cast on Crit. Now Molten Shell is triggered by Reckoning. This build's awesome because I block all the time. Reckoning is there with Cast on Crit. Now Reckoning will give me, I've got increased critical strikes in there, which what that does is it will give Molten Shell an increased amount of chance of proccing, and it procs all the time. And Molten Shell does a shitload of damage with Cast on Crit now because you've got 37% more spell damage, and you've got the Molten Shell sponge, and you've got the armor, extra armor. There's a lot of things to consider about this Molten Shell. It works so well in this block build because your defenses are high and it triggers all the time. In here we use another Vengeance. So there is always a chance we will get Tempest Shield on us, and we'll get our Ice Golem in there. So once again, our Vengeance comes into play here as well, and that's used with Cast on Critical Strike support. So Cast on Critical Strike, when this one triggers, we'll cast these two. Our Golem is up at the moment. I've been playing with the build, so it's already up. It's already auto cast up, and just in the shield, we will have our three colors here for Hatred, Warlord's Mark, and Blasphemy. Warlord's Mark is good towards end game. I think that's basically the build. I wanted to just explain Cast on Crit to you guys, how it's implemented in, how I used it in patch 2.4 as a defensive sort of build. So as a build where you want to survive in hardcore, and this has gotten me so far pretty well. We'll do the shore map. Actually, I'll put some mods on it. Okay, so we're going to be cursed with temporal chains. I don't care, we get an extra pack size in there, and it's inhabited by 2 additional rogue exiles in this map. So we'll activate the map now. I don't think I've done a shore map before, so just turn this up. We'll hear the
each life, each act, as fleeting as footprints in the sand.
Alright, so Temporal changes up. Now I'll just cast my totem. There you go. So clearance speed is pretty good. Once the Blade 4 kicks in, it pretty much does a shitload of damage. And as you can see, the poison is on them as well, so whatever effects it doesn't do, the poison can take care of that afterwards as well. This temporal change is going to slow me down, so it's going to kind of look a bit defective on the build, but you'll still see how the Blade 4 procs all the time. And I'll just show you, I'll just stand here, and we're at 72% chance to crit. Molten Shell's up. I'm just going to not do nothing, so I'm just going to stand here, and as you can see, Molten Shells come up, the Blade 4's working nicely, the block is working well. Here we go. So I'll just stand here. Look at my health. In a tier 8 map, this is pretty good. This is pretty handy to have. Rampage has just gone off. So 130 kills and I'm not even doing anything. I'm just standing here. So that's the defenses kicking in on the build. So there's actually a rogue exile right here that I didn't even have to do anything. I just stand there and I killed the rogue exile. So alright, we'll get this Essence of Greed. There we go. Oh, this temporal chain's very slow. Molten Shell. Here we go. We get another essence. Okay, we'll pick that up. We'll take the pit map. Another essence. Get rid of this as well. Corrupting blood, so gotta be careful here. There we go. Alright, so leveling up our Blade 4, that's on our trigger gem, the Blade 4, so it's only level 17, that one. Be careful, bearers. Where's our boss? We got a boss here. Ah, there's a Fairgraves. So we'll do the Pirate Lord, Fairgraves. And he's dead. I guess he does Tormenting Spirits, Pirate Lord's Treasure. Oh, this temporal change is so slow. Okay, so I haven't really cleared the whole map yet. You can still see more than 50 monsters remaining, but you get the picture of the build and how cast on crit is. So if people are saying to you guys that cast on crit is shit in patch 2.4, I still think it's pretty good, and this build I think is pretty effective in POE in patch 2.4. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I'm going to end it here anyways, and just thought I'd do a quick video on cast on crit and just share with you my build, how it's finalizing now at level 87, finishing it off. So if you guys know a lot of people probably are finished off in Path of Exile now for the league, so this will probably be my last video I'll be doing on this build, and hope you guys enjoyed the video. So I'll talk to you later, and if you do want to make any comments on the build, or you've got any suggestions, you can leave comments in the comments section. Thanks, see you.